Here's something I've been thinking about recently. Donkey Kong Country was, and is again, a pretty popular series. Or at least 1 and 2 are considered SNES classics. And it's funny because nowadays all of the portable main series Donkey Kong games are just ports of the console ones. But it wasn't always like that. Back in 1995, Rareware tried to make a portable Donkey Kong Country game on the Game Boy called Donkey Kong Land. Creative name. I know. But it's kinda weird because I never hear anyone talk about this game. When you hear about Game Boy smash hits, you hear about Mario Land 2, Link's Awakening, Pokemon. But no one ever mentions Donkey Kong Land. So why is that? Why does everyone still talk about Donkey Kong Country, but no one really mentions Donkey Kong Land? Well, for multiple reasons, probably. Donkey Kong Land is basically a portable Donkey Kong Country, but it's still its own game. The game looks, well, okay for the Game Boy anyways. It's not great, but it's passable. There really isn't a story in-game, or really any dialogue, so it's all just platforming, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but both Donkey Kong and Diddy Kong don't feel like their country counterparts, and everything feels a bit more loose and clunky. As in, doing a roll in this game doesn't always mean that after coming right out of it, you'll still move faster. You might be back at walking speed, which feels awkward. Whereas in the country games, as long as you're holding down the button, you'll keep running afterwards. The level design this time around is a little lower quality than its SNES counterpart. There were a lot more places where I noticed cheap enemy placement than I did in DKC. Because of that, Donkey Kong Land is at its best when it has a more simple stage. Not to say there aren't good stages, but between every good stage there's at least 2 that could have been better. So the game's not the most fun thing ever, and while that certainly doesn't help, I think the big reason this game is kind of forgotten is that it has no personality. Think about the more popular Game Boy games. Mario Land 2 and Link's Awakening both have such odd settings, enemies, and power-ups, and their own mechanics that even though they play similarly to their console counterparts, there's still a very distinct difference. It gives you a reason to play these dang old games. Here, without any of those things, it's so much easier to see that this is just a lesser DKC. Donkey Kong Country had revolutionary graphics, high-quality music, and it forced you to go talk to its characters. Those characters had witty dialogue, and were another thing that made those games stand out from all the other platformers. Donkey Kong Land misses the point of what made those games special. But I hate to say so many bad things about something at once, so here's a couple things that Donkey Kong Land does well. Since this game doesn't really have characters, the way saving worked had to be changed from DKC. You instead have to collect the 4 Kong letters, and this is a pretty neat system. It incentivizes players to go out of their way to explore these levels, and unlike every other Donkey Kong game, actually gives you a reason to collect these things. I mean, I still would have preferred just an auto-saving after each level, but I actually enjoyed this system a lot more than DKC's. The 8-bit renditions of the classic Donkey Kong music is still great to listen to. The songs already had great melodies, and the Game Boy sound font works surprisingly well here. Not to mention that the new songs are just as good as the songs from the SNES games. But everything I've complained about was fixed in a different game. There was actually a Game Boy Color port of Donkey Kong Country released back in 2000. It brought all of the characters back, a lot of the same sweet music, the better level design, more visually interesting colors, and all of that together made a really good portable Donkey Kong Country experience. So if for some odd reason you really need a portable DK game, this is probably a better bet than Donkey Kong Land. Too bad it's not on eShop.